Hi, I'm Christina, and this video is all about helping you decide which route you would like to go or how to choose your nurse practitioner program. So the first thing you need to do to decide is your specialty. So within that, if you're going in the nurse practitioner route, there's adult gero, family nurse practitioner, mental health, pediatrics, lots of options. If you're thinking that you want to work more in an academic setting and get involved in research, then maybe you go in the route of a PhD. I know at Hopkins they offer a program that is a DNP combined with an MBA, so a managerial DNP combined with your Master's of Business Administration, which I think something like that would be a great route for anybody wanting to get involved in more of the managerial side of nursing and healthcare. If you know you want to work clinically and you want to be a nurse practitioner, you have the options to specialize, like I was saying, within family nurse practitioner, pediatrics. And how do you decide that? Well, the first thing you want to think about is your experience. Oftentimes these programs require you to have a certain amount of experience in that field and would probably be in your best interest anyways to have experience with that population before you go in that route. A couple other things to help you consider which specialty you want to go into is your expected salary versus how much the tuition will cost. You also want to see what kind of employment opportunities are available. And then I also think that it's super important to start thinking about what a work-life balance looks like in that setting. So what kind of shifts they're working? Are they working outpatient? Are they working inpatient? And if you're trying to decide between a couple different specialties, maybe a good option is to go ahead and shadow a couple people working in these areas, and of course picking up on the actual work and the care that they're providing, but also just noticing the kind of work-life balance and the environment that they're working in, because for me, I think that is one of the biggest reasons you have work satisfaction or not, is the kind of environment and the ability to live your life while working. So the next thing you want to consider after you've decided which specialty you want to go into is if you want to get a DNP degree or a master's degree. The difference is that the DNP degree is a doctoral degree, it is a terminal degree, and I think the pros of that is that you are getting a lot of leadership experience. You are required to do a DNP project, which requires you to implement research, so it's great experience in implementing research within the workplace and how to evaluate evidence-based practice research. There's a lot of good skills that you will learn from getting your DNP. Also, if you are interested in teaching, a lot of DNPs will practice clinically part-time and then teach part-time. So there's a lot of different options and different routes you can go into with your Doctor of Nursing practice. If you know you want to treat clinically, nurse practitioners who are working in clinics, some of them have master's degrees, some of them have DNPs, and they are equal. So if you know you want to work in a clinic 100%, then the master's degree is a good option because it focuses a lot on how to treat patients clinically. You're able to get your degree faster. It's much shorter than a DNP degree. The other option is to get your master's first, and then there's master's to DNP programs, or there's DNP options where you can sit for your master's or apply for your master's and then sit for your NP exam midway through. So there's so many different options to go. The option that I'm in is none of that. I'm in a DNP option where there's no option for a master's, and you can't sit for your NP degree until after like the 3 or 4 years that you're in your program. So looking into that, seeing exactly what you want from your degree, and those are some things to consider with the DNP versus the master's. So the next thing to consider is the route in which the classes are offered. A lot of nursing graduate schools now offer their classes almost 100% online or some sort of mix of in-person and online called hybrid. And some still require you to be in person on campus attending classes. So looking into the different programs you're applying to and seeing how much time on campus they require from you. If you are the type of person who likes your freedom and flexibility and you want to work during your program, this is how I was. So an online or a hybrid option was pretty crucial to me. I didn't even apply for in-person programs because I knew that freedom was really important to me during that. You're going to be in this program for 2 to 4 years. So knowing what's going to be important to you in those 2 to 4 years is really important. If you're at a location that you really love and you know you're going to be there for the next 2 to 4 years and you like in-person classes, and there just so happens to be a university that offers nursing graduate school courses in person, then that is an awesome option as well. The program that I'm in is a hybrid option. It's 100% online the first year. The second year, you start coming in each semester for a 2 to 3 day immersion on campus. And for me, this was amazing. I loved it. I was able to travel a lot during my first 2 years of being in school, and I was also able to work full-time at the same time. I totally advocate as a really great option. The next thing to consider is what their requirements of you is. And I think for nursing schools, they want to see your experience and your interests and your passions more so than your undergraduate GPA. So, I mean, of course, look at their GPA, what they're looking for, but at the same time, don't be afraid to apply to schools that you're not sure if your GPA matches, if you have the passion and the interest and the experience post-graduating, because I think that stands out in nursing schools more than anything. Also, a lot of schools don't require nursing graduate students to take the GRE. So some do, and so if you're looking at a program that requires you to take a GRE, then you might be quick to sign up and take the GRE. But just know that there's a lot of schools out there, a lot of good competitive schools out there for nursing graduate programs that don't require you to take the GRE. And I think this can save you a lot of time, effort, money if you're not committed to one specific school. Look into schools that maybe don't require the GRE. This is just something to consider as well. Next, the length of the program, depending on if you're going in the master's directions or the DMP direction. This can be anywhere from, I think, maybe 2 to 4 years. For example, if you're going into a DMP program and there's an option for a 3-year program or 4-year program, this will correlate with the intensity, of course, of the program. So if you are not in a rush to get your degree and work full-time as a nurse practitioner, then maybe taking the longer option, it gives you more freedom and flexibility. It gives you more time where you could maybe work full-time if that's something that's important to you, or spend more time with your family. If you're wanting to get your degree right away, there are shorter options that are more intensive, and I mean, I'm sure there's people who work through those programs as well. Basically, I think it's important to consider the length of the program, but more so than that, considering the intensity of the program and what you're wanting for the next 2 to 4 years of your life. Next, some things to distinguish certain programs to you is to look into the type of support they provide their students in regards to clinical placements, and if it's a DMP program, the DMP project. This is something you can look on their website and see if they have a clinical placements team, or if they have written articles about this, or even talking to students who you know have gone to this program and seeing what kind of support, if they felt supported during the program, because you are studying really, really hard, and the last thing you need is to not feel supported by the university that you're going to. The next thing to consider is tuition and scholarships. And I always say this, where don't let a school's tuition deter you from applying to that school before you look into what kind of scholarship opportunities they have for their students or loan replacement options. So sometimes the more expensive schools are actually able to offer their students more financial support, or faculty who is able to help them in applying for scholarships, or maybe they're sending you more information about scholarships. This is something you could reach out to the financial department about ahead of time, and or reading on their website and seeing what kind of scholarships students are applying for. On top of scholarships, again, looking into loan replacement options. The two that I can think of off the top of my head The first is called the Nurse Faculty Loan Program, which is the program that I applied for. And this program requires you to work as a nurse faculty, so teaching after graduation for 4 years. And this doesn't have to be full-time, you can be adjunct faculty. And if you know that teaching is something of interest to you, then this is a great loan replacement option to apply for. Another option is HRSA. They will pay a certain amount of your tuition, and you are required to work in an area of need after graduation. A lot of different areas can fulfill this requirement. I know rural areas are considered an area of need. Also, a lot of bilingual clinics are considered area of needs. So if you already live in a rural area, or you are bilingual and you're interested in working with this population already, then HRSA scholarship just kind of goes along with your career goals already and can be a great option to take some of the stress of the finances of going back to school off of you. All right, so we sat down, we analyzed how to go through the nitty-gritties of each nurse practitioner program, but in the end, I think something that is helpful is to just sit down, write out your short-term, midterm, long-term goals. So your short-term goals apply to nurse practitioner programs. Midterm goals, how do you see yourself in these programs in the next 2 to 4 years? Do you see yourself being committed full-time academically? Or do you want more flexibility? Do you want to travel? Do you want to raise your family? Do you want to have another baby? Long-term goals, how do you see yourself after graduation in 4, 5, 10 years? Do you see yourself working inpatient? Do you see yourself working outpatient? Do you see yourself teaching? Do you see yourself working in a rural area or area of need? So looking at all these things and then using those things to work backwards. So if you see yourself, for example, in your long-term goals, you've written out, I want to work inpatient, and I want to work during the day, and I want to work 2 days a week, and I also want to be teaching. Then maybe the program that's right for you, working backwards, is a longer acute care nurse practitioner program that has the option of applying for a nurse faculty loan program since you know you want to teach. So writing these things out and then using that to work backwards to help you figure out exactly which programs you want to apply for, I think in the end can be one of the most helpful things. I hope this video helped. If you liked it, go ahead and click the like button. If you have any questions or comments or anything else that helped you specifically, go ahead and comment so we can go ahead and help each other out. Also, so I know what other kind of content that you guys would be looking for in the future, go ahead, ask questions. I'll definitely read your comments and try and create more content that would be helpful to you.